Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of On the Nose. We will be hanging out with Bert G. Jones, one of my favorite TikTok content creators. If you would like to see more of his stuff, definitely check out the description for this episode. There are links to his Instagram and his TikTok account. Um, the sound is a little different because I'm using my headset because I'm in the middle of moving. So I noticed there's like a weird echoey thing going on. But I just wanted to thank everybody who tunes in and listens. I appreciate you. And I will talk to you next week. I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. Words are hard.
So, hello. I'm here with Bert G. Jones, and we are TikTok buddies and I guess Instagram buddies too. So, sending each other amusing stuff. And I thought it would be fun to get in a conversation and share it with people. So, I can't remember your TikTok username because I'm really bad at names. So, if you want to,
It's Bert G. Jones.
that's just it. Like, no,
Yeah.
no spaces or whatever.
No, if you just put it all together, you'll find me on there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can if there's anything you want me to link to in the description for the podcast, you can just send me that and I'll include that stuff too.
Okay,
So,
cool.
yeah. So how you been?
I've been living.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
about right.
Had a slew of cooties and everything between my son having the flu, me having the flu, and all that other stuff. But yeah, just here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cooties.
Mhm.
I have enough health issues. I just avoid people so I don't get the cooties. I'm like, stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old is your son?
He's 11.
Okay. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that.
Yeah, well, I've been through it, so I
Yeah.
can say that in retrospect, I can say that. It was 13 to like 15 that was like, you know.
Oh no, that's been like 9 till now and going on. Half the
Yeah.
time I'm like, why are you doing this? Why?
Yeah. Um, so on TikTok you do like voice acting stuff plus, the filters and stuff, but is the voice acting something that you're doing like just there, or are you trying to get into it like in other
Oh,
spaces or?
I do auditions for voice acting regularly. I did have, well, there's like two different groups that I'm in. VA Crusaders is like one voice acting family I'm in on TikTok where we actually do like web series and fan dubs of like different mangas and animes and stuff like that, and comic dubs. So that's also on YouTube as well. And then for my independent stuff that I do on the side, there's various channels that I go through for auditions and everything. So I just churn them out and just wait for an opportunity to show up. And I've already done like one series on one episode. It's called Deception, and I played two different characters on there. So they come. It's just you're waiting for the big one to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have like a type of voice that's like your favorite? That's like
No,
the most fun? No, you just like doing it.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just a chaotic gremlin, and I see something, and I'm like, "You sound like this," or "You sound like this," or whatever, and then you just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool sometimes like I'll watch your videos and you'll like and it doesn't even sound like you, you know? I'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh yeah, I have to remember that you're doing that."
Right.
Yeah.
The or what is it? The ambiguousness of it all, and then just being able to chameleon and go with it. Like literally, I'll hear a soundtrack or like some type of soundscape or noise or something, and then it automatically clicks, and you're like, "Oh, you sound like this." And then it's like it doesn't sound like me normally, or like when you're doing like the little spicy book reads or something, and you put on that deeper voice or something, and then you go from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can like when I'm like just talking, I'll like randomly pull out voices or like accents, but I can't like do it on purpose. It's always
Yeah.
accidental. And if I
Mm-hmm.
try to do it on purpose, it's just like utter failure. I just don't have that skill set. My son's really good at doing voices and stuff, and he's really into D&D, so that's like handy. But
Oh yeah.
uh yeah, there's a couple times like when he was still going to school that we would walk to the train together, and he's really good at doing like Morty, from Rick and Morty, and like
Yeah.
I would literally be like on the side of the road at the corner waiting for the light to turn, bent over, like almost throwing up, laughing so hard because he was just like talking all kinds of shit like Morty and
Oh
it's,
my God, that's awesome.
yeah, it's fun. Uh, And like what what other stuff you into? And you've been
Well,
doing some podcast stuff.
yeah, I've been doing podcasts. I've been a regular on the Royal Genius thing. I have a music thing I'm supposed to be working on where a producer sent me like 17 different beats or whatever. I just haven't got around to it because like the winter months, I had the winter blues and everything. So
Yeah.
that'll be eventually showing up, and I'll post some audio tracks on TikTok or something like that. Besides that, I'm a computer geek. I'm a foodie. I like traveling around. I'm a gamer. Surprising. Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm a movie buff as well. So like all these different things, like I try to include it like on my TikTok. So like for the music stuff, I know some people have seen like, and people who will listen on eventually may see me do like a rap take or a metal take or something like that because music's been a thing in my life. My dad's a jazz musician, and I'm just the gremlin product of that. The voice acting and acting stuff. I was a movie critic for a while amongst my friends, and I was like, if I was in a movie, this is how it would work. And then, like, when I found my first voice acting challenge thing on TikTok, I was like, oh, nut up or shut up, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so like, and then I do my goofy reaction videos that you guys see too, because comedy's always fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I'm not like I never got there's like all this content on TikTok to play with, and I just never really been drawn into it, like doing reaction videos or whatever. Like I like watching like people that I'm connected to doing that stuff, but
Yeah,
I'm not really like I rarely do the filter videos or any of that, and I don't know, it just doesn't, my chaos is different. It's puppets and makeup and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you're good at what you do.
I'll take your word for it. I don't like
I mean, I've
that.
shared some of your videos with some of my friends. Okay.
Yeah, cool. That's
Yeah.
I actually haven't made any content in like 4 months. I've been relying on what I made then and then like the stuff I've already made just because I haven't been well enough to make stuff. And it's
No.
like I miss it. I have these days where I'm like, I just, I want to do that, but I just right now being upright is it's questionable. So, but as
Definitely
soon as
pace
I
yourself.
feel, yeah, as soon as I feel well enough again, I definitely, I've been saving sounds and stuff, so I have stuff to look forward to play with and stuff. Kind of bummed about a bunch of the music being muted, but
Yeah. Well, funny thing that you mentioned that too. There was one track on my, I think it was one of my mass characters videos I did, where I do like all the special effects stuff and whatnot. And the audio got muted. But then like when I checked back today, the audio was back up.
no, interesting.
So I feel like whatever legality issues they're having with licensing for certain things, I feel like it's going to resolve itself eventually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully. Yeah, I didn't look too deep in my stuff, but the most recent one that I did, it was like a music video with Naked Guy. That one was muted and I was like, oh, bummer.
Mhm.
It was the Pop Will Eat Itself track.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I don't like a lot of the tracks I do are not music that I actually listen to. I'll just hear it on a TV show and be like, oh, that'd be good for TikTok, and I save it to my sounds. But every now and again, I'll do one that's actually something that's music I enjoy. So I was like, oh, figures I'd mute one of those.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, like even with me, well, I can't say that it's not music that I don't enjoy because usually what I vibe with, I put out there for people to hear or see. But I know like TikTok was kind of like my gateway into like funk, like the Brazilian stuff. Like I didn't know anything about that until I got on TikTok and then heard it. I'm like, yo, this is cool. This is
Yeah.
noise, but it's cool noise. And then,
I mean, it's mostly like the poppy, easy to digest stuff that I'll do videos for that because it's fun, but it's not. I don't mind it when it's on, but it's not my go-to joy, you know?
Right.
And then the stuff that like makes me really happy tends to be on the more abrasive side, and that, you know, I don't have to hide it. I just over the years became very private because I got so much like negative feedback of, oh, this is really like dark or whatever, you know, that I just started kind of like being like, well, this is mine and I'm not going to let you ruin my thing. But every now and again, I'll like do a video and use that music. And it's nice because like somebody who's also a fan will pop up and like we can share that. And I'm like,
Oh
cool.
yeah.
You know,
And
those
like I've seen
videos
your
never do
stuff.
as well, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
sorry, you were
And like
saying.
what I was saying was, and like when I see that stuff from you, I'm like, ah, I know that one. Hi. Yeah.
Yeah. My cat is like every time I record, he gets very like and he has to get into stuff. So I don't know if you saw him, he was trying to get in front of the camera, but there's no space here. So he's at some point he'll start chewing on my laptop and
Yeah.
yelling and join us as the
Oh.
co-host.
Well, my dog is downstairs asleep and my turtle is just swimming in her tank. So I mean, they don't really do anything.
Yeah, what kind of
Yeah.
turtle?
She's a Mississippi map turtle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had
So,
when I was a kid, I was obsessed with box turtles.
hmm
So just thought they were cool.
Don't those things bite like hard?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
never had one. I just always I would always read about them and write reports on them and you know,
they're like little kaijus.
yeah. When I was in Singapore, I went to a turtle rescue that was like in the middle of this like park and because people get pet turtles and then they dump them.
Yeah.
And so this place in Singapore just collects them. They had all kinds of turtles, but there was like an area where they had turtles out in the loose and you could feed them and they would know you were going to feed them. So you literally were getting mobbed by like 100 turtles. It was pretty
hmm
cool. I got some fun photos of the turtles being like, feed us.
hmm
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah. Plus they
They're
had
like,
some cool ones in the aquariums and stuff, like just really weird looking ones.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And by no means am I a turtle expert. So if you say, "What's that one?" I don't freaking know, but it's cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the character from the Neverending Story, the big turtle. We
Yeah.
are allergic to humans. Achoo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for these ones are like, oh, food, food,
Yep.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doing the
So
thing like, give us some food.
so I know that you're into like your puppets and your clown makeup and all the fun stuff that I see. But what about you? Like what other stuff makes
So,
you up?
I do have the other account, but I don't post there as much. And that's for like my art stuff,
Hmm.
which literally varies by whatever gives me the dopamine. Like I just call it chasing the dopamine. So, you know,
Right.
one day like I'm doing resin stuff and making jewelry or whatever, or clay, or I'm doing like paint pouring or collaging or string art, which is, you know, like putting nails down in a shape and then doing the string. And yeah, it just depends. Like I the last thing I got really into was collaging. And I didn't think I would be very good at it, but I got a lot of compliments on the results. I'm not a visual thinker. Like I can't remember what it's called, like aphasia or whatever, where you actually can't visualize. I have very little ability to visualize. So um I can't like look at something and be like, well, I want to make it look like this. I kind of have to do everything by feel. So I'll cut out a bunch of things and kind of play with them and then put them together. And it's the same thing when I'm playing with paints and stuff. It's very much like by feel, you know, and like around the last time I painted, I was just getting to the point that I was starting to be able to get the paintings to look the way that I wanted them to feel. Um, so I am looking forward to eventually being able to get back to that. My housing situation imploded and I stopped having a space to do it. And so eventually I still have all my supplies and my canvases and eventually I'll get back into it. And um, that was kind of what my Patreon was initially built around, was the content creation and the art. and then eventually kind of expanded where I included my podcast and pretty much anything I'm doing. I'm just kind of like, you're supporting my chaos, you know?
All right.
Yeah.
So you're more of an exploratory artist from what I'm getting.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess so.
So like in anime and manga world, like Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, all that stuff, generally like he has the whole, 30 something years of whatever it is. But he actually recently said on an interview, like he doesn't have an idea of what he's actually making until he makes it. Which, if you look back at his previous stuff, sometimes it gets retconned that way. But he's letting the story tell him what to put on there. So I'm kind of getting that same vibe from you.
I could see that.
Mhm.
Like being creative in that way is very new to me. It was after my ADHD started being treated, it like unlocked something and I started being able to do things that I had always thought about but just couldn't really figure out how to do them or start them.
Mhm.
And but before that, the same sort of creative energy would go into stuff like working on my vehicles, or like I worked in IT, so I was like fixing computers, like I worked in a data center and stuff. It was like it all went towards that kind of like problem solving, and it kind of used the same part of my brain, but I never thought of myself as creative until I started doing more artsy stuff, and then it allowed me to look back at these processes earlier in my life and be like, oh, I was just using my creativity in a sort of a productive way, and so I wasn't recognizing it as such, you know.
Mhm.
So it's been like calling myself an artist was an interesting like transition, you know, but like I've sold a couple pieces and stuff, so which is really validating. um and it is fun. It's very messy, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you ever have
um
an art show yet, or is that a goal?
no, I don't I don't know, like maybe someday. I don't My stuff is like I don't have like a style yet, but I did do a pop-up shop last year in a place in San Francisco, and we put up like the jewelry and stuff I made, but we also put up my art around and stuff. So that I sold a couple pieces there to like just strangers. And
Mhm.
I also did like paint pouring on coasters. So I had like these sets of coasters with they were all like artsy fartsy, and I sold a bunch of those, which is cool. Those were a lot of work. I don't know if
Yeah.
I end up making more or not because they were like so much work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just let the narrative write itself and just be the template for it.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
just put stuff on Etsy. I just go, well, I'm gonna make stuff because I want to make it, and then I just put it on Etsy. You know, instead of being like, well, I need to make these things to sell them. I'm like, I'm gonna make things, and if they sell, cool. You know, like
Hmm.
I went through a phase of like knitting, and I made like a whole bunch of like scarves, and I did these scarves that are like, I call them strand scarves. So
Hmm.
they're kind of like friendship bracelets, except that they're like this thick. And I do like 6 of them, and you can like wrap them around, and they don't keep you warm. They just look cool. They're very like bohemian. And I don't know, I just got this idea. So I made a couple of those, and each one took me like 40 hours, you know, but I just made them, and then I put them on Etsy. I haven't sold any yet, but
Okay.
that's okay. Yeah, I feel like those are something that if I go to an event and have a table, they're more likely to sell.
Right. Just because it's going to be unique and it'll catch somebody's eye in public.
Yeah,
Okay.
so and that's been my plan since last year, is eventually I'm going to start doing tables at like farmers markets and stuff like that. Because I feel like Etsy is a mess.
Yes.
It's really hard to get seen on there, and the competition with scammers and stuff is frustrating. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, like I go on Etsy, but my realm of Etsy shopping is usually like reproductions of like Game Boy cartridges or something like that. I'm a dork like that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Like I find the weird things on Etsy that like nobody else is really thinking of, and I'm like, oh shoot, I can buy a Game Boy Advance game from like 2001, but it's like the pirated copy, and then load
Yeah.
that on my Game Boy, and it works just fine for the most
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
I think most of my Etsy shopping has been looking for like resin molds that
Hmm.
for a very specific idea that isn't like a common idea. I'm just like, I want to make this thing and I need to find a mold that will kind of fit what I want to do. And then I spend like hours looking for it,
Yeah.
with sometimes with success and sometimes not. But yeah.
Yeah, just give it time and just revisit it if you don't find it. Somebody will put it out there. Somebody in the universe is hearing your call and they're like, I don't know why the hell I'm making this, but I'm making it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that or at some point I'll have to get a 3D printer and start making my own. But
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I don't like, I have to really be interested in something to get into it. So like if I got a 3D printer, I wouldn't use it because I'm not interested in dealing with the learning curve.
Right.
But that could change.
Yeah.
And when it does, I'll deal with it then.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely one on my shopping list of things to get to, just because I'm like, ooh, I need to make weird stuff. And I have like all these different files saved up, like the Dwayne The Rock Johnson octopus thing. I saved a file. I'm like, I'm going to make one of those. I don't know why. It's just weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you gift it to somebody randomly and they're like, thanks.
Yeah. The hell is this? I don't know, but it's for you. I made it so it's special.
My friend got a 3D printer and the first thing he printed was a little tiny penis with feet and he sent it to me. So it's like because I used to post pictures on Instagram all the time of stuff that I saw in the wild that was not a penis but looked like a penis, and then I hashtagged it accidental peen, and so
Yeah.
it's created this association with my friends that they have to send me stuff that's penis like, and
Right.
yeah, so that's in my it's in my stuff packed away somewhere, but when I like have a desk again, it hangs out on my desk.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so what's your favorite anime? Like, I hate the favorite question. It doesn't have to be like the all time, but just like the first one kind of pops in your head as happy making.
Ooh, happy making. Me and anime don't really do happy too well.
Pleasure.
Death Note.
Death Note. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Death Note.
Yeah, that's not a happy one though.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like Tokyo Ghoul a lot.
I do too.
But like I think my first one that I got really, really into was Bubblegum Crisis.
Ooh, that one
Um,
is good.
yeah, and it was like that was like back in the day when we would have to wait for the VHS to come out because DVDs didn't exist yet. And
Mm-hmm.
the one friend with a car would drive to San Francisco, go to Japantown to get the VHS, and we would all chip in for it and then bring it back, make copies so that we all had it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Before torrenting was really convenient. Once torrenting got convenient, then it was like it was all over, right?
Yeah. LimeWire. That was a thing. Computer aids.
Yeah. So I had like, because then I had like all of like Initial D and all of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm not as into anime now as I was back then, but it's because there's so much of it and a lot of it is too fan servicey for me. So
Yeah.
like, but if my son says, "Hey, you should watch blah 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 anime," I will go watch it because he knows what I like. I like a good story, and but I think the last one I watched was Seven Deadly Sins, and I rewatched the first like 5 seasons so that I could finish the
Mm-hmm.
the final seasons, and that one's fun.
I mean, I have a list of them that I could go through, but I will say that Hellsing was definitely like my first, like, oh, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z was great because that was the one that a lot of like weebs got introduced to and everything. Like I was in that same genre because it was like what it was on Fox Kids originally back in Kansas, and then like Cartoon Network got it. So, but you notice like the voice acting cast changed between the Fox version and the Cartoon Network version because, well, money
Yeah.
issues and all that. And then like growing up, my parents had Dish. My dad did. And on Dish they had Tech TV, and then Tech TV had its own slew of like different anime things that came out at the same time as Toonami. So it was like during the commercial break when you're watching like everything else that everyone in America is, you're watching what the Canadian kids are watching, and then they had like the Marvel spin-offs of like Wolverine and Blade and all that. You're like, ah,
Yeah, I never. There's a lot of that because I cut the cord on cable TV in '97, so
mhm.
I never had like easy access to stuff. So I had to always go like find stuff and know what to look for. But um, like I remember when I saw Invader Zim, I was at a friend's house and they had like Nickelodeon or whatever, and I was
Yeah,
like, I can't believe this is on TV for kids. This is amazing. Like,
yeah. Well, and what's really funny was when Nickelodeon canceled Invader Zim, there was actually talks with Cartoon Network to pick it up. Granted, that didn't go anywhere, but I'm like, oh, that would have been on Adult Swim in a heartbeat.
hmm yeah.
Yeah.
The first episode of Invader Zim I saw was the organ harvest one.
Oh
So
yeah.
that was like my first. I was already familiar with, you know, the comic writer, but like I didn't know Invader Zim. I just knew Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and so like I was like, oh, this is so dark. I really
Yeah.
like it. My
And there's
squiggly
him just
spoon.
shoving organs.
More organs, more human.
Yeah. But yeah, there were some definite gems back in Nickelodeon between like the 90s and like the mid 2000s. Like you had SpongeBob when it was still good. You had
Yeah,
Rocko's Modern Life. You had Ren and Stimpy, and of course Invader Zim was just like the same formula. So you're like, ah.
yeah.
But now it's
God.
aliens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy were like, I remember watching that when I was pretty young, like maybe tweens or around there. And I had like, there were like 6 episodes initially, and like I had them all like memorized, you know,
Hmm.
like, I just walk around and say them. So I
Yeah.
can still, when I'm watching them, I can still like go along. I'm like, wow, it's still in there, you know?
Yeah.
And definitely like Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead were very formative cartoons for kids at that in that era, you know, and you can see it in like all the rest of the cartoons that like all cartoons shifted at
Yeah.
that point, you know, and took on this new kind of personality and went places that made them questionable whether or not they were, you know, for kids or not, which I think just made them better. But even
Yeah.
like you start seeing it in Disney and stuff, they started throwing in more adult humor and stuff, and you
Mhm.
know, which
And
made
now
it.
we're at this generation where there's back to coddling and wholesome moments and all that stuff.
Yeah, I do not miss like the when my son was young enough that I had to take him to go see cartoons because I was
Yeah.
never. I like the Pixar ones. Never been a big fan of Disney. Um, and but it was like they're so boring because they're so formulaic and stuff. So, and I can only imagine they seem like they've gotten worse.
They have.
Yeah. So I'm glad that that's not a, you know, not a thing I'm responsible for anymore.
Yeah. And like my child, he's in the Disney Channel era now. So like I'm living through it and I'm just like, and he's like, you don't like this? I'm like, son, we grew up in two different generations. We are not the same, especially when it comes to TV choices. You may have my looks, but we are definitely not the same person. Yeah.
Yeah. My son
Yeah.
and I are so much alike. It's like his wife will send me something and I'll respond to it. She'll be like, that's what he said. Exactly. Like that's you
Hmm.
know, like she could just predict that we're gonna say the same thing or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But we weren't always like that though. So like, you know, we were out of sync for like a decade, and then he as he congealed into a formed adult, then he became more like me again, which is good because, you know, there are worse options.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So
So how old's your son?
26.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. How old are you?
I am 35.
Okay. That's what I
Mhm.
thought. I thought you were like around 35, 36. So
Yeah. Just
that
turned
seems,
35.
yeah. I know. I just turned 48. So
Okay.
yeah. And I don't, it doesn't does not compute.
Yeah.
You know?
Doesn't look like it, so
Yeah,
doing good.
yeah. I just avoiding the sun helps, I guess. Drinking water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like surreal. I'm sure it'll catch up with me eventually, but um, I'm not gonna complain. I like to think it's because I haven't stopped being interested in the world around me, so I haven't aged as quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like the clown makeup could kind of help too.
Yeah. Yeah. Although it's interesting, the light shows all the lines and stuff, so it like
Mm,
it accents, but it doesn't show up on the camera. You see it in person more than in photos and stuff. But
right.
I'll be like, oh, that's what that's gonna look like in a couple years.
Yeah. But no, like I mean, granted, I've been graying since I was like 17, so I've been noticing, like, on some of the videos that I record on this phone that I'm doing this podcast on, like, I'll notice the strand of gray that's just like hanging out up there, and I hyper focused on it. I'm like, this is 4K. I cannot be looking like some type of age. Or it's like even with the stubble I have going on right now, like that's a risk because like a random gray will just pop out randomly.
Yeah.
So I was like looking this morning, like I should shave, but I don't really care.
Yeah. I've had like a little bit of gray on the sides since I was a teenager as well, and just, but it started to come in more over here. And I was like, well, I'm gonna try growing out my hair and see what that's like, partially because when I shave it, now that this area is gray, it looks like I'm bald. It looks like there's no hairs there when it's short enough because they're
Hmm.
see-through. So I was like, well, I'll just try growing it out. And, since I have curly hair, I can have, it doesn't show at this length, but as I get older, like longer, it gets like I get these spirals. Maybe I can have crazy gray artist hair, lady hair.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Yeah. So, 'cause I don't feel like dealing with like dyeing because I always dyed my hair like blue. I've been doing that since I was like 13, and I just kind of don't want to do it anymore. It's too much work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, I know I need a haircut though. Just kind of, I don't care. I was like, I could get it wet and it might look serviceable, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, I just got mine shaved today, so
Yeah. It's like, I think it's like annoying, like even as a female with short hair, if I go to get my hair cut, they charge it as a woman's cut and it's like, it costs more. They charge
like
more for
20
that.
bucks or something.
Yeah, and I'm like, why? I'm getting the same haircut as that dude over there, and
Mhm.
I specifically am like, don't put stuff on my hair, don't style it, like, and they're like, nope, women's cut. I'm like, man, it's like the
Yeah.
pink tax.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I know out here, well, granted, I don't know where you go, but like where I go, they do like adult haircuts for like 20 bucks, and I think kids are like what 15 or something. Like that's how they just categorized it. And
yeah,
I'm like, that was like the cheapest one in the area. And then luckily, they put your hairstyle in the computer, so like no matter who in there cuts your hair, hopefully they get it right.
yeah. Well, I have because I have curly hair. You have to go to people that know how to cut curly hair, or they will destroy your hair, and it
Hmm.
will not do like the cheap places. They're not trained, and
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way over the years. So I usually just once it's long enough, like this length, I'll go like twice a year and get it cut because I can't at a proper salon because I can't really afford to do it more often. And
Right.
then when it's like if it's long enough to tie back, then I just cut it myself.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Once a month for me.
yep. Yeah, I figure if you do like the once a month maintenance, like that cost, it's
Yeah.
about the same to go to a salon every 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted, back in the military, I think it was like every 2 weeks when I was in that I had to
Yeah.
get something done to make it look presentable.
Yeah.
And then you couldn't go on base because the barbers on base were terrible. Except for that one that ended up getting into that traumatic story about like how his first time he ended up getting crabs in his life or something. And you're just like, why do I need to hear this damn story?
He got crabs while cutting hair?
No, he got
Oh.
no the high school romance and crabs.
Oh, the first
Yeah,
time. Ah, yeah,
yeah,
he got crabs.
yeah.
I got crabs from sleeping in the same bed with my best friend who had them. We didn't do
Oh my
nothing.
God, that's
I
terrible too.
I was not sexually active yet, and I came home and was like, why am I itchy? And like looked, and you can see them. And I went to my mom and I went, I think I have crabs. And her response was, who have you been sleeping with? And I was like, I'm not there yet. Like
Mhm.
I don't know where I got them, and then it ends up that I just got them from sleeping in the same bed with my best friend.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, granted, they look for something warm and alive, and then they go from there. It's like
yeah,
lice. It is
yep,
lice.
yep. So it's yeah, that was I was like, I mean, they really shouldn't be considered an STD because like you can just get them, from
Mhm.
anything. But I used to be like, oh, I got my first STD and I didn't even do the sex.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just one of those weird ones.
yeah. I feel like military hair people should be good at what they do because there's like standards to maintain, right? Like,
Yeah.
but they're not.
No. No. Generally, if you're not getting your head completely shaved or as low as possible, there's not really many options for people like to actually screw up. But they
Yeah,
do. They
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
I could see,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've seen it.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was buzzing my head, I just did it myself. Like I was like, I'm not gonna pay somebody to do this.
Now, granted, I've done that too. Like my first base, I was just like, look, all the nice little ladies that try to cut your hair can't do it. I'm gonna just bake it myself. Just plot out a couple hours on the weekend and just go at it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I got pretty good at it. Like I knew where all my cowlicks were and stuff like that, so I could get like pretty even where there wasn't like a random spot sticking out. But
Hmm.
that was also years of like having an undercut when I was a teenager and doing it myself, and
Yeah.
you know, that was that hairstyle that I always revisit, and then I go, why do I keep doing that to myself? Because when you have an undercut, then at some point you have to grow it out, and then you have to suffer with the grow up.
Hmm. You just vibe with it. That's all that was.
Yeah, I know. I'm too neurotic about my hair. It's like my thing. I've gotten better. I would never have like just had messy hair like when I was talking to someone before, and I've just gotten like way more relaxed. But I think that's the 40s,
Yeah.
just get that point where you're just like, I don't care.
You're more comfortable in your own skin. That's all that is.
Yeah,
And I appreciate it. Like 100%.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So you're back east, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I am in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
okay.
So like
Yeah.
I am like right there on the Atlantic. Yeah.
We're getting we've been getting a lot of rain this week, and we're getting tonight. We're supposed to be getting where they're saying like a half inch to an inch an hour of rain in some areas. And the other day it was already like flooding. Where when I went out to my RV to pick up some stuff, we had to take the back road that goes up higher because the normal roads were flooded. And we're like, yay, water in excess.
Yep, for us, it's just cold over here. We had a lot of fog and rain and wind, I think, like last week and the week before, but here it's just eh. Except for no, I think that's Oklahoma earthquake. I was about to say, except for an earthquake warning. The hell?
Hmm.
I don't think that's me.
Yeah, I think they've been having a lot of little earthquakes from like fracking related stuff.
Hmm.
Because Robot Liz is in Oklahoma, and she was sending me like stuff about it because they were getting like 4.0 ones and stuff, which is pretty big for that.
Yeah, I was originally from Kansas, so like when they started getting those like more and more frequently, I could actually feel it from there too.
Yeah.
I was out of Wichita or Kansas City at that point, so it's
Oh,
funny when you're like in a hotel room and you're just vibing and watching whatever's on TV because you finished your night out with your friends and all, and then everything's shaking. And you're like,
yeah.
"Ah!"
Yeah. That I mean, at least with the fracking related ones, they're not going to get that big, you know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like here, when we get them, you have to stop and like analyze it, be like, how big does it seem like it, and then it starts to settle down. You're like, okay, it's okay. I don't have to get up and run outside.
Hmm.
There's, it's the big one that we're overdue for. that inevitability type thing.
Yeah. Well, and like even out here in Virginia, I think when I got stationed out here, we had one, and it was just so out of the blue, like it was unexpected. And the base I was at previously actually had a slew of them as well. That one of them we had to evacuate for, but this one, I thought somebody was messing with me, you know, because I made friends, and I'm like, look, dude, if you do not stop shaking my chair, I'm gonna fucking punch you. And he's like on the other end of the office. He's like, what are you talking about? And all of a sudden, we're seeing people run, earthquake, earthquake. Oh, it'd be like that. Okay, I'm gonna hide under my desk and just wait for it to pass. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a big one when I was pretty young. It's the one where the freeway in the Oakland area collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living up north, you know, like an hour north of kind of where the epicenter was. And that was crazy because it went on for like a long time. And like we had time to run outside and like it just continued. And I had been on the phone with somebody and their bookshelf like fell while we are on the phone and was yeah, just like not fun. And my mom was she was coming home from work on her motorcycle and she was at a light and she was like, I thought I was having a stroke or something, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
then somebody yelled, it's an earthquake. And she was like, oh, that's what's going on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. She's like, thank God it's not a stroke, but holy crap.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. But
Yeah. The
yeah.
main thing that we deal with out here is actually like sea level rise. Like that's a big deal. So apparently like last week we had I guess there was an article on Wavy 10, which is like the local news station for like the seven cities, talking about like the sea level rise is like 3.5 times faster than it's been like in recent years or something. And
Yeah.
you can see that like when it rains, like if you're further south on the peninsula, like if you're in Norfolk or Virginia Beach or Portsmouth, like certain areas that used to not flood when it rains a lot. And of course you can see that like whenever they decide to take pictures of like the little bars that people go to by the beach and they're, you know, saturated and all. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We're getting that here too. We got some of the biggest like waves and stuff that we've ever gotten. Like we're hit records like, you know, piers are being destroyed and stuff like that. And it's interesting. Just, you know, like it's not abnormal to have like warnings where they're like, you know, be careful over the weekend. We're gonna have like a high tide and blah blah. But this was like it happened several times over like 2 weeks where they were like, you know, stay away, and then there ended up being a bunch of destruction and there was like flooding in Santa Cruz and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so it's yeah, things are changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all those people, you know, in higher places are like, oh, global warming doesn't exist. And sea level rise, what's that?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. No, it's a thing.
There are these books, it's like two books by Stephen Baxter. Um, I just brain farted the name of the first one, and I think the second one is called Ark. But
Mhm.
and it's basically the story like if the Earth started to flood to like water world amount, and it's like based on this actual theory that there's a whole bunch of water being stored underneath the mantle of the Earth that if it got released would cause like this exponential rise of water levels. And so like, you know, the story starts out that it's like climate change, but then that causes this shift that causes the mantle to basically release that water. And so it follows the story of the water levels rising over like a period of, I don't know, like 200 years or something, and like the different ways that society deals with it, you know. And it's very interesting and very like not optimistic like at
Mhm.
all. Um, but it's just stayed in my brain, you know. The big thing that really like got burned in there was the fact that anywhere that's like livable as the water levels rise, that those are just going to get snatched up by like rich people. And you know, anybody who can't afford to live in those places is just going to be stuck moving away from the destruction over and over again, you know, until there's just nothing, there's nowhere for them to go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that seems pretty accurate, you know.
Yeah. I can see that, and it's unfortunate. So I
Yeah.
hope, you know, the rest of the world can just kind of get along and understand. Yeah, this is a problem.
Yeah, like as a species, maybe we should work together and not be so worried about ego and us versus them and other bullshit, but whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be a decent human being.
Right. I don't even think if aliens came here that we would be able to do that, though. We would be fighting amongst ourselves about what we thought about the aliens. And the aliens would be like,
Well,
"Hey, why are you ignoring us?"
it's just like with the pandemic. Like you had people that understood the assignment, stayed home and everything, but you always had one or two people out that wanted to start something,
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Protest. I'm not wearing my mask. You can't tell me what to do. Whatever. And you're just like, bruh, getting sick is not fun.
Yeah.
Getting sick with something that's unknown is even worse.
Yep. Living under the fear of like a virus sucks, and doing the precaution stuff sucks. But knowing what we know about the inflammatory effects of like COVID, I don't know why people are like, it's just a cold. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. Like we're going to be seeing record numbers of like disabled people, over, the next decade or whatever from this virus impacting people. So I still haven't gotten it. I still mask when I go out, and I don't spend a lot of time with people anyway. When I first started having health issues back in 2013, I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome because I got a virus from somebody that was coughing on a plane, and I never really got better, and it's like a post-viral malaise thing, and long COVID and chronic fatigue syndrome, they seem like they're related or
Yeah.
the same kind of thing. Even though they're being treated differently, and long COVID is getting a lot of money and chronic fatigue just doesn't, like, at all. And one of the things is like people that have chronic fatigue are high risk for relapse, where they get sicker than before if they get exposed to viruses again. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna try not to get any more cooties. And I've only gotten like one cold since then so far. So
Lucky you.
yeah, but there's a lot of isolation involved in that.
Well, during the lockdown situation of being isolated in my little cabin that I had in the woods at the time for 2 years was not a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Like literally, I would just be on Netflix gaming. Me and my friends, we would do like virtual game nights or something like that. Yeah, that was fine. And then the world opened up. And granted, the only time I would leave the house is to go to work, or well, no, I worked from home. But the only time I really left the house was either to pick up my son or to go to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And then also to get the COVID vaccine when that was a thing. So I got the vaccine, and I felt like death for about 2 days because I got the one shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then went on with my life. And then not 2 months later, I got COVID for the first time. I was like, 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah.
I was doing good. I went to Walmart. And then like a day later, well, not really a day, whatever the incubation period was, whatever happened, I was making coffee and I felt lightheaded. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel right.
Yeah.
So I took a COVID test and I'm like, okay, where are all the places that I have been? Well, I either have been making every meal that I make or I DoorDash something. Okay, so step one. Where did I go? Walmart, Kroger, Starbucks. So I was like, between those four different options, something happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I guess I'm staying home and sleeping.
Yep.
And like the whole lack of sleep for about 2 weeks, and then like trying to like do like meditation things to calm your mind down with the VR headset, and you're online with a bunch of people and you're just snorting snot everywhere and just sounding gross. You're like, all right, I'm sorry, I'm ruining this for everybody. Like, I guess I'm gonna go sit in a corner with my lack of sleep ass.
Yeah. But it was like you're okay once it like wore off. You're
Yeah, I
healed
had
up.
about 4 weeks where I was ick, and then I think post recovery was like another 3 weeks or something like that. So I was like, once I started feeling better, the only thing I had to do was like rebuild my stamina because I couldn't really walk my dog that far. I think I was like one block and done. have to sit on a park bench or something. But then like after month 2, I was back to normal.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore though. You know, colds are usually not that mean, but
Hmm.
yeah, I just keep up with the vaccines, and then I mask, and then but shortly I will be living with somebody again, and they work, but they wear a mask at work and stuff. So
Yeah.
um masking only goes so far if other people aren't masking, but at least with the N95 it does provide some protection. But so I just hope for the best in that
Yep.
regard.
That's
Stay
all you
away
can do.
from kids.
Kids are vectors.
Yeah, they just like when there's like kids like around me, like I'm in line at the store and there's like kids, they're always coughing, and I'm just like,
Hmm. I
like
mean,
I'm
even me, I
sorry.
give strange looks. I'm like, is that a normal kid cough or is that a sick kid cough?
Right?
Don't get too
Yeah.
close.
I'm clearing a cough right now, but it's because I was exposed to mold, and I'm very sensitive to it, so it gave me like an asthmatic cough, and I'm at the
Yeah.
tail end of clearing that out. But every time I went in public, I'd be like, it's allergies. I'm sorry. It's winter time is hard for me because of the rain. That's
Yeah.
my allergy time.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get you sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I didn't like when everybody was like isolating and they're having video calls, and I didn't. I actually was kind of mad because I went through all those years of being like sick and being really isolated. Like it's like the first 4 years or so that I was sick, I was like really like I would walk to the bathroom and then have to crawl back. I was like so sick, um and like nobody really like reached out, checked in with me. Nobody's like, hey, let's do a video call or anything like that. And then when the COVID hit, all of a sudden all these people that I've known for like years are all like, watching movies together and doing all this stuff. And I was like, they still weren't including me. And I was like, what the hell, man? You know,
Oh.
so I was like, that
Well,
was really, it was really frustrating. But now I started doing the podcast, and at least I have my own way of now like initiating like contact with people.
yeah.
But
Oh, I wish I knew you earlier because I would have been like, hey, movie night with friends. We're watching Amazon Prime, whatever. Some
yeah,
dumb movie. If you want to join in, here's the link. I would have done that for you.
that would have been fun. I did do a movie night once where I coordinated it because I have a Discord server with like a small group of my friends, and we watched a puppet movie called Head, which is not it's not inappropriate. It sounds inappropriate, but it's not. And it was a movie made by my puppet Dusty, the gray one.
Hmm.
The movie was made by that maker. And it's like a slasher, like an act slasher movie, but with puppets. And
Okay.
we watched that through Discord, and it was great. The puppet sex scene was really awkward. We were all like,
Did you
you
ever see
know,
Happy Time Murders?
I don't know. Let me
It's
look it
another
up.
puppet movie. Yeah, take a quick look. It's fun as hell. I have it on Blu-ray over here. It's got I think Jesse McCarthy. I think that's her name.
Oh no, I didn't. I haven't seen that one, but that looks like something I would watch.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Hmm. That's fine. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah, it came out during the pandemic. So it literally, I think it was like in theaters for like 1 week, right? And like within that 1 week, nobody was going to the damn theaters. So then it was like now on DVD and Blu-ray, and you're like, I need that movie.
Yeah. When I heard about What We Do in the Shadows, the movie,
Hmm.
have you seen it?
Hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't released in the US, and so I had to get a friend in the UK to get it for me when it was released, and then they mailed me the DVD, and then I changed my region, on
Hmm.
my computer, ripped it, so I had a copy of it, and then sent him the DVD back as a gift. I was like, here you go. I have and I like that's one of the few movies that I've watched. Usually only watch movies once, but I've watched that movie like 20 times now because I just love it. And I like the TV show too, but the movie is, and then they have the spin-off series. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about the two cops. It has the two cops that are in the movie,
Yeah.
and it's really, the humor is like so dry. Like It's so great. It's just oh, it's so bad. I love it. I don't know why I can't remember the name of it, but
It'll come back to you probably like later tonight. You're like, damn it, it's this.
yeah, I always tell people to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the TV series is a lot of fun too. But I like that they were able to keep the vibe, but I don't know, that original movie just, like when they're fighting over the dishes and they're like up in the corner, like hissing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Wellington Paranormal. That's what it's called. And it's great. It's so dry.
It sounds familiar, shockingly.
Yeah. And
Mm.
it's like these cops are dealing with like all this paranormal shit that's happening in their town, and they're kind of acting like it's not real, but at the same time it is, and it's just very dry, and it appeals.
Mm. Yeah, I'll give it a watch tonight. That's for sure. It's on
Yeah.
HBO Max or Max now.
Oh,
Because
nice.
that name like 3,000 times. Yeah, I'll take a look.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I don't think it's for everybody, but if you like dry humor, then and the way that the actors deliver the dryness really well. Like I would not be able to keep a straight face. I would just be like, and they're just like deadpan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the style over there. But yeah, looks like it'd be a fun one to watch.
Yeah. I watch a lot of not American TV. Like so there's a lot of good Australian stuff and British stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep, I watch a little bit of everything.
yeah, there's like I just finished watching The Brother's Son,
Mm-hmm.
um, SUN. It's on Netflix, and that was actually I was surprised at how good it was. It was a lot of fun. It made me like literally laugh out loud, which not a lot of stuff does.
Oh yeah. Well, if
So
you have any recommendations of shows, you can gladly send them my way because I am so far behind on my backlog. Like this weekend is starting my, oh crap, I missed so many movies like in the past. Like I think it was for my birthday movie watch on the 31st. A friend of mine, me and her, we ended up watching Psycho Gorman together, which was a movie that's been on my list since 2021.
did
Another
you say
pandemic.
Psycho Mormon or Psycho
Psycho
Horman?
Gorman.
Gorman.
Psycho
Okay,
Gorman.
I
Yeah.
heard it wrong both ways.
Uh, have you ever seen Guyver, the anime?
Yes, but I don't. I'd have to like see a little bit of it to remember it. My memory's
It's like
terrible.
bioengineered, like Common Rider, Power Ranger type body armor or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, Psycho Gorman has aliens that are kind of like that, and like the alien is going around and killing humans and stuff. But like two kids find like his little gym that controls him, and then he has to be like their little minion or something. It's funny, it's weird, but it kind of works. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of movies. I mostly watch TV shows because I like the drawn out stories more, but every now and again I'll like watch something. Trying to remember what the last movie I watched was. It was like oh, I don't remember what it was called, but it was like sort of end of the world type story. There's like a feedback sound. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. Um, but basically where the end of the world was, or the end of the United States, it's actually not the world, was started by like some faction. You never really know, but like who caused it. But it's like it goes through like these phases where they're breaking down society, and it sort of unravels where you don't really know what's going on. And it ended up being better than I expected.
Mhm.
Um, it had Julia, what's her face with the big teeth? Um, See, I'm really bad at names. I'm Julia, um, Julia Roberts in
Okay,
it.
I was thinking
Yeah,
that, but do you want to say it?
Leave the world behind is the name of it,
Okay.
and it ended up being um interesting. The
Cool.
music in it was really bad though. Like it was bad enough to annoy me. I was like, this music is not good. Did they just not have a budget for music or what?
Or somebody thought it was good and didn't realize that their taste was complete trash. They
Yeah.
directed it.
Yeah, it vibed weird.
Mhm. I'm gonna send you the trailer to Psycho Gorman too, by the way.
Okay.
If I'm doing that now.
Yeah, I'll try to remember to send you the brother's son. That ended up being like, I think that's a relatively new show, and I just it was very enjoyable.
Okay. Alrighty, let's do this. Send it to you now. Because I am one of those people that have two phones.
Yeah.
One
I
that I do.
I'm using my laptop, so I could use my phone.
Yeah. So like I have the one I'm talking to you on right now, which is like literally my gaming and acting and all that other stuff. So like agents and stuff can reach out to me on here. And then I have my other one that you've seen on TikTok when I did like the Diablo stream or something like that.
Yeah. I used to have two phones, but it was just for Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
That was it. Which
Sadly, I never really got into that. Like I played it like when it first came out, did some collecting. My son was hardcore into it. And so I picked it back up again during the pandemic, especially when they opened up the battling system to where you could just battle from home.
yeah.
But it just being an old school Pokemon nerd, I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't vibe with it.
I I started playing the day it came out, and I took a break at some point for about a year, and then I got back into it. But I don't go out of my way to play it. I play it when I'm going places. It's like if I go to the doctor's or and I may have to be sitting around waiting, and it's just like this great like distraction, you know. But I do the community days pretty consistently, so it's guaranteed I'll be out walking around at least once a month for that. And then before I hurt my toe last week and I had to go to the ER because it's pointing the wrong way. And I was going walking a couple times a week just just because like I just need to do something because I feel like shit all the time. And I was playing then, but I have the device now that auto catches so then I don't have to have my phone out when I'm walking around. Um, and just let it do that. And then I play Pokemon Sleep, um, which I'd already tracked my sleep. So the fact that I can gamify something I was already doing and I get to feed a Snorlax, it just works for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I never got into the old school games because there was too much grinding. I tried to play them and I wanted to like them, but my attention span, I am a run around and loot and smash things gamer. I'm not, you know, it'll like Far Cry is the most patient game I'll play, and it's because it's really fun to snipe people in that game. Um,
So you're not a Minecraft person at all, are you?
no, I tried. I really wanted to like it, and I just got bored. I didn't know what to do, and I think part of that is the lack of visual thinking, you know?
So there's a fun thing where like if you the DLCs make that game more fun, right? So like on my Fire tab, I have I think the Mega Man skin or the Mega Man DLC pack and then the Sonic the Hedgehog one that they did. And so the Mega Man,
I didn't even know that DLCs to be honest. So
oh yeah, and then like my son, he has like the Jurassic World one. So like the
oh,
Jurassic World one has like all the dinosaurs and everything. You have to run away from the T-Rex and stuff. And
oh
the
yeah.
Mega Man, huh?
I was like, my son like Jurassic Park is I'm gonna ask him if he has it.
Yeah. The Mega Man one, you play through like the first level of Mega Man X or like the first three or something. And the Sonic one, it has like three different levels that you play through as well. So, I mean, they're
Cool.
fun, but it's like getting used to the box mechanic on top of the old school game mechanic is a little weird.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the DLCs give you like direction and give you things to do.
Yeah.
That would probably work better for me. I am really bad at platformers, so like that involve jumping, like
Mhm.
because I get angry when I fall too many times and have to redo something.
Well, that's
Um,
definitely the learning curve because like you're used to playing it like on the old system, and then like you're having to play it like with the Minecraft physics, and so like my timing is crap.
Yeah. There, I think the last game I played was Diablo 4, and then they pushed the first season out too soon after the game was released, and I got frustrated and bored that I had to start over so soon when I was just starting to have fun with the end of the game. And I haven't gone back to it, but I do eventually want to check it out because I enjoy playing Diablo, just run around smashing and looting.
Yeah.
And then the Horizon Forbidden West, I played that and I really enjoy those games, to the point that I actually go and read every single little story thing and collect everything, which is also very unusual for me. And then they didn't release the latest DLC on the PlayStation 4, so I can't play it. And I was like,
Mm.
I understand when they come out with new games, put it on the new system. But when you already have a game established on a system, like, why deny the DLC to them? It just seems uncool to me.
Yeah, I completely agree because Cyberpunk 2077 did the same thing on like Xbox and PlayStation. Now, granted, the original run was terrible. Like no matter what console you got it on, it was trash. I got it on Stadia when Stadia was a thing, so it ran a little better, but that was just because Google had like all those computers that had amazing processing power set up for it. But I mean, even then, it was not producing 4K quality like they said it was going to do. It wasn't running at like 60 frames a second and stuff. But like
Yeah.
PC, PS5, and Series X constantly kept getting the new updates, and so like they stopped doing the latest updates on the previous gen consoles just I think last year, and it was kind of
Yeah.
a bummer.
It is a bummer. It's like, especially because you invest your money into the game, into the system, you're basically investing into those updates by doing
Mhm.
that. And then they're like, yeah, the money you put into it doesn't matter, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's
Go ahead and spend another $400 and get the new thing if you want to keep playing it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have money for any of that. So I mean, maybe someday I'll get a PlayStation 5, but my PlayStation 4 was given to me when a friend ended up buying the Pro. He was like, "You want my PlayStation 4?" That's the only reason why I have a console. And it was
Yeah.
like life-changing for me because this was like the first couple of years I was sick. I've been isolated, and then he gave me the PlayStation, and all of a sudden, like, I started being able to do something, so
Yeah.
I got back into gaming, which is something I did before my son was born, and then when he was small. And then I started playing with other people and I got to socialize, and it literally, like, it just made me feel better because I was getting the brain juice from socializing. I was really into GTA 5 for a while.
Yeah.
um of course, like, I'm antisocial, so we would like I would keep reloading servers until I found an empty one, and then they'd all come to me so we wouldn't have to deal with trolls. And then we just run around and have fun, and I have so much money in that game.
Yeah.
I'm a hoarder with the dollars. But yeah, is great. So I enjoy it. I used to be a PC gamer, but I just don't feel like it matters anymore. Like, whatever works for you, like, I was using the PC to play, it's your dwarf, and you go to asteroids and you mine on the asteroids. The name is right, it's right there. I can't. Oh my God, it'll come to me. But and I was playing that on the PC, and that was fun. I was playing with my son and his friends and stuff. And the dwarfs, like, talk shit, and there's like these weird spider creatures in the asteroids you have to kill while you're mining, and it's fun. But I cannot remember the name of it though. I need to look it up. It's gonna bug me. Um, Dwarf mining game. Deep Rock Galactic. There we go. Yeah, and
Never
that was
heard
a
of
lot
it.
of fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Um, and I played Sims, of course, because I do.
Yeah.
My draw to Pokemon Go is collecting. I like to collect things, but I don't like having clutter in my house, so I don't collect physical things very much. I like to collect digital things.
Hmm.
Pokemon. And when I play Sims, instead of building out families, I specialize my Sims in different things, and then they go around and collect like all of certain things instead. And then I have like my yard will be this organization of the things that I have collected.
Mhm. Oh, that looks fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
What are the requirements to run that? I'm on Steam right now.
Yeah, I don't have my gaming rig anymore. I like when I moved into the RV, it's incapable of handling the power demand, so I sold it to my son, but he gave me a laptop that I think can run it, so I can still play it if you ever got it and wanted to play.
Okay. Yeah, my gaming PC can definitely run that. My my laptop that I've been using forever and a day. I'm gonna load some new RAM on there because like right now I think it's like at 8 gigs, and I'm like I want to do 16, just
Yeah,
step it
that'll
up a
help.
bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can definitely run that easy. It's an AMD based one. So yeah, let me put that on my watch list.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it goes on sale sometimes. Yeah,
there.
I got to play one of my longtime friends, he would play it too, so we would play together for a couple of rounds and stuff, which is nice.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna send that to me. But yeah, my MacBook Pro and my HP gaming laptop, I'm gonna do some upgrades on both of those
Yeah.
and then go from there. So,
Cool. Yeah, I used to have all like Apple stuff, or Linux stuff, and this like the laptop I'm on when I bought it from Dell was a Linux based. Like they built this model specifically to run Ubuntu on it, and I just um I just got tired of running into functional limitations with things that should just work, like
yeah, like
my
your modem,
printer. Yeah, I'm just
printers
like,
and stuff.
why are these things not working when there's like entire like groups of people focusing on making it work and stuff. And so I ended up putting Windows on here, and just jumped away from Linux for now. At some point, if it becomes more supported, then I'll go back to it. But I
Yeah.
just, it's like things like I wanted to run my cry cut. I have a nice printer for printing my stickers and stuff, and it was like all of that stuff was just not. I was like, this is ridiculous. Plus the gaming, like when I would play Sims, there was no floor.
Hmm.
It never rendered correctly.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, and it's fine on Windows. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Weird.
yeah. Just it's just one of those things. But yeah, it used to be like you could it was a lot easier to pull drivers from the driver packages, like you could unpack them and stuff, and now the way they build those, it's a lot harder to do that.
Hmm.
So
It's been many a year since I've actually run Linux. Myself, I was a Linux Mint fan myself. I think the last time I had it loaded on a machine was like on a Acer Aspire One netbook back in like 2012 or something.
I remember when Mint got first, before it got popular, but it was starting to get popular. There would be people in downtown San Francisco handing out USB keys with like, or fobs or whatever they're called, with Mint on it, just to
Hmm.
get people to use it. And I
Yeah.
remember trying it, and it was pretty good. Like,
Yeah. It's elegant, that's for sure. And it's based off of Ubuntu, so like it's
yeah,
the same feel, but where all this new gaming experience and everything, I was still using Wine on Linux Mint, and I was able to run things just fine because like I was playing maybe 2D fighting games or something.
yeah.
But I was never like, oh, let's play Elder Scrolls on here. I had a PlayStation, so I wasn't really worried about that.
Yeah, yeah. And that was part of why I didn't mind having the console, was because then I could just game there, and there's no pressure for my PC to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I did like running Linux in part because it felt more secure, you
Hmm.
know. I just I don't know, Windows. Like for when I made gaming rig, I never even had Wi-Fi on it. I just had it all hardwired and then had like my security set up because I just didn't. And then what I ended up doing when I switched to the Windows on this is that I have it locked with a YubiKey. So even if it got stolen or whatever, you know, because I have a physical key to unlock most of my accounts, like, you know, good luck getting in, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm a little bit paranoid about that stuff, but I think that's valid with all the scams and stuff out there.
Oh yeah.
You
Did right.
Yeah, as long as I don't lose the key.
I mean, hey, it happens.
Yeah, but cool. So what do you got? Saturday, right? So what do you got anything planned for later?
I mean, honestly, all I'm doing is I have some chips and salsa and guac up here, so I'm gonna be munching on that. Probably watching a few movies, and then I have a couple of friends that I'm gonna catch up with and see how they're doing and everything.
Nice.
Because I've been still getting birthday wishes all the way till today, so
Your
that's been
birthday was on the 31st?
yeah, it was Wednesday.
Awesome. Well, I said
Thanks.
happy birthday on TikTok, but happy late birthday. Again.
Thank you.
So
And I responded to you on TikTok and gave
yeah.
you the little heart hands here.
So I'm glad that you got like attention and acknowledgement for it. Cause I don't know, I think it's nice. You know, it's nice to know that people know that we exist and that they are glad that we exist.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool. I like the pink. I'm just like, oh, the pink.
I've had these things forever. The only thing I did different was like, if you look, they have the little black wood grain vinyl skin on them. So I was like, I
Okay.
had to kind of make them my own. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
So yeah. I was gonna say something that I just brain farted, which is totally a thing. Like whenever I'm not eating enough, my brain just goes, yeah.
Well, then you need to eat something, don't you?
I can't. I've eaten as much as I can for the day. I don't know what's wrong, but I've lost over 30 pounds since the end of November.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it's been like, you know, so we're still figuring out what's going on. They did some tests and we're not really sure what's up yet, but hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be trying a new med and maybe that will help and that will give more answers and yeah. So,
I'm hoping for
but
the best.
yeah. It'd be nice to get back to my my what I'm used to in terms of my health stuff, you know. So it's a
Yeah.
little easier to live with. But I guess we can wrap it up and yeah, I'm glad that we planned this. I know it was like back in was it December that we planned it?
Yeah, it was
And
like I think the end of December you reached out to me on TikTok, and then throughout January we kind of conversed back and forth, and I was like, yeah, just let me know when you're free, and
yeah,
we threw out a tentative date, and we ended up doing it on the tentative date, so here we are.
yep. So well, I had a good time and I like I said, I'm glad we got to hang out. We'll have to do it again, not necessarily for the podcast, but it could be for the podcast, you know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And I'll see ya on TikTok and
sounds
Instagram.
good.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Oh wait, where's the button? I can find that button.